recommend any breathing, like when you're with a girl, or do you like put? Is it a good idea to put your hand on her heart, just like breathe the same?
Have you enjoyed that?
I haven't really gotten a chance to like really do it. I heard it, like, or I heard sometimes you guys.
It's hard to hear you.
If you guys match each other's breathing, then it makes the sex better or something. Or if you guys have the same heart rate.
So those are some beautiful things, and people do fall into synchronicity when they're together. So you'll notice people will start sitting alike, talking alike, breathing together. This is a basic NLP sort of thing. So one thing you can do to increase a sense of closeness is start matching the other person's breathing. Okay, so if you're feeling maybe a little distant, you can just breathe together. A beautiful way to start love making is to just sit and breathe together. But I really, the type of tantra that I really has meant the most to me is not imposing any sort of techniques onto it, but to really be experimental in the moment. What happens if we breathe together? What happens if I don't? Because that's a mental process to be focusing in on thinking about breathing together.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't I notice my breath and her breath and how delicious that is, that breathing that's happening in this space together. What's happening in the moment as I notice that we're getting more aroused? How does our breathing change? And this way you answer your own questions about breathing, because you'll notice if we breathe together. So men especially are taught a lot of things to do, and this is better than when they weren't, but it also leads to this sort of idea that you're trying to do this thing to get to this goal, and you miss the very moment then, just like I'm showing you with this exercise. When you're thinking about how do I get to this goal, okay, how do I get to where she comes and then I come? You know, this is the way the mainstream has set up sex to be, which is that you do some foreplay, she comes, you come, basically. It's the porn recipe. And it's better than when she didn't come at all, sort of, except now it's all become very mechanical. So it's this thinking thing of how do I get from point A to point B versus, as I was hopefully helping you experience, which is if we're not trying to get from point A to point B, what's this exquisite feeling of just being in this moment, breathing with this other wonderful being. What happens if we breathe together? I have this question. What happens if our breath is not in sync? What is that? How does that feel? What happens if I touch here? What happens if I test my own boundaries on receiving gentle touch? Oh, it's scary for me. Oh, I don't like it. It's not familiar. What's that about? Can I heal that? Because ideally, I'd like to be able to receive. That's going to be my ability to receive pleasure, money, good things. It's going to be my ability to live in paradise. You guys understand if you're great? I remember Leonard Orr used to say, your problem is not that you don't make enough money, it's that you aren't open enough to receive enough money. If you're a total receiver, you understand you live in utter paradise, you have everything you need. So this ability to receive pleasure is symbolic of every kind of pleasure that I want to receive in life, starting just with my own skin. Can we receive pleasure without it having to go anywhere? This is not to never have any goals. It's not that it's not sometimes fun to have an orgasm, but the way the mainstream has set up sex for you is like it gets quite boring, and it gets quite. Men and women start arguing and getting in a lot of power struggles because neither one is being sexually satisfied by conventional sex. Women are laying in bed at night after you've gone to sleep going, damn, I didn't come again. And the man is like, she doesn't suck my cock enough. And it's just, everyone's always upset. And it's like, men want it more and women don't want enough, and everyone is always dissatisfied, currently in the state of satisfied. And we keep fantasizing that if we just have more, we'll get satisfied. And conventional sex will never be fully satisfied. That's why porn is not really about sex, it's about addiction. It's about creating addiction. Not that it's not fun to watch sometimes, but everybody knows if you're not addicted to porn, you know somebody who is. Because it's in the business of creating addictive. I still want to get a certain result from something that can never give me that result. So when you go beyond conventional sex into the higher realms of sex, it becomes, every moment becomes fully satisfying because you're right in this moment with what's happening with the breath, what's happening with the touch, what's happening with my delicious partner, how can I give more, how can I receive more. If we need to cry right now, we cry together. If she wants to be held, maybe I want to be just received, maybe I just want her to pleasure my cock for an hour and a half, 3 hours. Maybe I just want to learn to receive that. Maybe I just want to give, it's easier for men to give, maybe I just want to give her pleasure for her, as long as she wants. And maybe that's all we do today. There's so many different ways of sexuality than just this conventional recipe that's never satisfying. Everybody keeps hoping that if I get enough of this conventional recipe, then I'll feel satisfied. It will never be enough.